My dreams come true.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Join Ryan McCarthy.
I became a Jets fan because Kurt the Frog was my favorite Muppet because he was green, and the Jets wore green. That's how I became a Jets fan.
And Dustin Henry.
ESPN is cashing all in on let's pay a few personalities and we'll just kind of fill in the gaps.
As they walk you through all of the world of sports from their perspective.
The Albany Empire, it's a literal circus.
No credentials required. Where, Ryan, say the tag.
Where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
Live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on YouTube and where you can find podcasts.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Well, welcome back to the morning shift with Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network, or should I say, welcome to an audio version of this show, since you have seen all the products fly by, but probably saw me and heard nothing. Hopefully that is not the case, since I was being alerted that there was no sound of the mic variety. Hopefully that has changed. Let me know if it has. But good morning to the Shifter Playmaker on the Playmakers Blog Network. Tomorrow, I might actually join him in Shooting Lights Out, and you can find him on the Playmakers Blog Network YouTube channel. And you can also find my man, Cool McCain, who now obviously can hear me along with the Playmaker. You can join him, and well, you probably could have joined him last night on Eagles Elite Podcast. That comes to you 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central on the Eagles Elite YouTube channel. And you can also catch him with Monarchs of Wrestling with Playmaker on Mondays, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central, and so many other shows. Both of them are busy individuals, but I'm glad now that all of that is taken care of. I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you for your patience, and thank you for alerting me of the technical difficulty. And well, unfortunately, the first segment is just going to have to be very, very silent. But actually, I think I'm glad I'm here anyway. The NBA's potential shift from Warner Brothers Discovery has piqued fans' interest over the past month. With the Sports Business Journal reporting that formal written contracts with Disney, NBC, and Amazon regarding media rights negotiations are potentially reaching its final stages. So what does that mean for certain programming? Well, on today's program Spotlight, we will touch on what I deem is the best studio sports program that has come across in the last 40 years, that being Inside the NBA. Now, for those who are unaware, there has been contract negotiations between the NBA, Warner Brothers Discovery, Amazon, Disney, and NBC for rights to broadcast NBA games. And there's been some interesting developments, and tea leaves have been read, and information really has been leaked. So it's possible that the association or the NBA, is going to go through a major media shift and a coverage change as it considers ending its partnership with TNT, and it has been a long time partnership with them, joining forces possibly with NBC for what they call the B package coverage. Now, the proposed NBC coverage bid, it would include a show called Basketball Night in America, similar to when NBC in the NFL time of the year hosts Sunday Night Football in America. Same premise, but instead of it being, of course, from September to January, it would be probably from February to May or February to June. And it would air again nights, 2 primetime slots each week, and coverage for the conference semifinals and conference finals, all estimated at about $2.5 billion. Now, it's been reported that Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav said it would need to match this figure to keep the media rights to TNT. All signs sort of point to the fact that it might not happen. Now, what sucks is it might be curtains for one particular show that I think many sports fans love, and that is Inside the NBA. The official title, Inside the NBA, presented by Kia. It is hosted by Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, and Shaquille O'Neal, and that lineup has been in effect for the past 13 years. The show itself has been on air since 1989, and is known for its off-the-cuff entertaining style and insightful basketball coverage and knowledge analysis combined. And literally, it has won the hearts of fans with its unique charm. It has won this person with basically the fact that you get a chance to see Hall of Famers laugh at a sport that they mastered. And you get to see a guy who, the moderator of this show, basically be himself, which is professional, man of full integrity, and has a sense of humor the size of the Pacific Ocean. Now, the show made its debut for the 1990 season. Now, for those who want to think long and hard about this, of course, the season itself was culminated in a 10-7 game series between the Pistons and the Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Pistons won in 7 games, and they won the 7th game in dominating fashion, and they went on to win the NBA championship in 5 games over the Portland Trailblazers. So it's that season. And it had a rotating panel of hosts and analysts. You may remember some of Craig Sager. Of course, yes, the same late Craig Sager, who dressed really weird and strange in a lot of crazy garb. God rest him. Hannah Storm and Vince Cellini, which that name I have not seen in a long time. But in 1990, it got solidified with Ernie Johnson Jr. walking into the studio from the sidelines, and he became the show's full-time host. And yes, for now the last 34 years, he has held that position without a hiccup. Then you had Kenny Smith join in 1998 after he retired from playing. And then you had Charles Barkley enter around 2000 after he retired. And then, of course, after he retired, Shaquille O'Neal in 2011 joined the studio team. Now, the show has featured numerous former and current NBA players as well guest hosting. When we have recently seen Vince Carter do it. I think at the time we recently saw Chris Webber as well. We now currently are seeing current NBA players like Draymond Green take a turn and actually co-host alongside. And that has been the case for more than the 30-year history of, or I should say more than the 30-plus year history of the program. And the future of the show, it's probably up in the air, but more than likely it is done. And the reason why I say that is because there has been things that have been leaked out into the press saying that it's a done deal, that the NBA is going to partner up with NBC and Amazon and Disney, with a, I guess, multi-pronged deal instead of having the 9-year, $24 billion deal that we're coming off of, which ends actually after this year with TNT. There's just too many hilarious moments of the show to count. But the Inside NBA did a lot of wonderful, wonderful things. One of them was back in 2008. And God rest you, Kobe. Love you, bro. Kobe Bryant got a teammate, and this was his lone MVP season. And he basically had a chance to promote his shoe. And so he put on his shoe, and he was testing out the shoe by jumping over an Aston Martin, racing at him in a garage parking lot outdoors at 100 miles an hour. And so it was, thankfully, it was successful. I mean, he jumped over it and didn't stumble, didn't clip the car. Everything was fine. But of course, the moment was stolen by Kitty Smith, who put on his faux shoes, and you saw him get run over by a car when he tried to jump. But of course, this was basically green screen. And not only did you see Kitty get out the screen, you saw one of the shoes still on the street. That's the type of show Inside the NBA is. And it's going to hurt me to say was, because it has been leaked about, I think, 24 hours ago, or I should say maybe 22 or 23 hours ago, that officially NBA, Inside the NBA will go through its last season next year, and that at the end of next season, which we're coming around actually about now, probably the end of May, beginning of June of 2025, the last we will see of Inside the NBA. Now, I know some of you are probably saying, well, wait a minute. Whoa. This is one of the best shows on TV, and this is the best show the NBA has. This is the best show about the NBA that's on TV. I agree with you. They should just simply slide a whole chunk of money if it takes that in Kenny's, Charles, and Shaquille's, and in Ernie's faces. And I'm sure the NBC was willing to do so and might be still willing to do so to change minds. However, going into the negotiations of what was going to happen, Ernie Johnson actually said that he is a Turner guy until the end. He's not leaving Turner. He's not leaving TNT. He's staying put. So if the NBA were to go away from TNT, go to NBC and Disney and Amazon, he's like, best of luck in future endeavors. I'm going to take my retirement and enjoy it. And these last 35 years of this show that I've done, I think I have more than put my stamp of approval on my body of work. Now, of course, when we get to this point at this time next year, I will do a deeper commemoration on the show and a deeper heartfelt goodbye and a farewell. But I just felt that I need to actually say this now so that I can get a handle on it when this time next year comes, and I think they'll call the Eastern Conference Finals next year. When it gets to that time, then I'll be prepared, because in 2 weeks' time after that, I now will be able to say the best show I've ever seen that has covered the NBA is now about to leave. And I don't think they will find a show that is as comparable as this. So I won't say goodbye to Inside the NBA yet. I won't say goodbye to Ernie and Charles and Kenny and Shaq just yet. That's going to be about another year. But know that hearing that the Inside the NBA broadcast will probably cease to exist after this time next year, as a sports fan and as a basketball fan, as an NBA fan, hurts. because those are the 4 best ambassadors that the NBA has. And they're going to have to scramble hard to find better ambassadors than those 4. And that concludes today's program Spotlight. Now, if you want to hear stuff like this, I have a good show for you. In fact, my brother KG or Chris Gardner in H-Town or Houston, he will come to you live later on today with the Houston Round Ball Review Takeover. That's right. He's going to take over the lunch break powered by JM&E, as he always does, today and every Thursday live, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. And that is on the BS3 Network via Roku TV, the Jones Media and Entertainment YouTube channel, or Jones Media ENT, and the Houston Round Ball Review YouTube channel. The lunch break powered by JME will go through its customary Thursday Houston Round Ball Review Takeover, hosted by Chris Gardner, live today and every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central, on the BS3 Network via Roku TV, the Jones Media and ENT YouTube channel, and the Houston Round Ball Review YouTube channel. And before I do take my next break, to my boy Chris, my H-Town brother Chris, I hope everything is good with you. I know the recent thunderstorms and high winds did some damage to your domicile. I hope everything is good with you. And if you need anything to recover, let me know. I appreciate you, and I sure believe that all of us at BS3 appreciate you as well. So now we will take our break right now, and when we come back, Nikki Haley staunchly was opposed to endorsing either guy, now is wholeheartedly going to endorse one of them. Why the sudden about face? Good question. That answers on the other side, as you are now in tuned and watching The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network. We'll be right back right after this.
This is a BS3 Network presentation. Adrian Shawan.
There was a man talking about where the homebodies at, where the women at, and the women was stitching it and was like, we at home.
Scotty Knox.
Another pet peeve of mine, right? First date, if you show up with the ponytail that come out at the top of your head, it will not be a second date.
Butler.
I want people to think independently and freely. She's not. $100 for lunch. I almost got up and walked off.
A show that asks only one question. Is it Wednesday yet? Live every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central.
See everybody talking like they doing what we doing, but these brothers is rare and they ain't moving like we moving, and everywhere we go.
Rams fans all around the world.
It's a beautiful thing to be a Rams fan right now. Stafford's back. We're going to see about Cup. And running back, Kerryon Williams. To return.
Lend me your ears, or should I say lend Playmaker your ears, as he breaks down week by week everything in the Los Angeles Rams canon.
Number 99, Aaron Donald. Can't wait for 2029 to come to know that you are going in the Hall of Fame, and it should be first ballot, no questions asked.
Join the Playmaker as he breaks down everything Los Angeles Rams style in Ramily Talk on the Playmakers Blog Network YouTube channel and where you can find podcasts. Jay Caraway.
You got some that can't seem to put the phone down. The signs on the freeway now. Put it down, it can wait, whatever. You know, like, that's crazy to me.
CJ Boyd.
You have some adults that ain't got no sense, bro. The moment they feel attacked, they gonna handle you accordingly.
Brothers talking about real life issues. BS3 Network proudly presents Elevate Live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central.
Welcome back to the Morning Shift on the BS3 Network. I am Cole Johnson. As the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson powers through, and again, I will reiterate, join my two brothers, Jay Carraway and CJ Boyd, as they're probably riding high off of the fact that the Dallas Mavericks are actually doing something in the Western Conference Finals. But join them as they talk about life the way, I guess you say, the way we talk about life. In unvarnished, very, very unadulterated, raw fashion. Elevate live tonight and every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. You can watch that on the BS3 Network via Roku TV and the BS3 Network YouTube channel. That's Elevate live tonight and every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on the BS3 Network via Roku TV and the BS3 Network YouTube channel. Nikki Haley. Now, she said Wednesday that she will vote for former President Donald Trump in the 2024 general election. And this has been her first public appearance in about 2.5 months, because she dropped out the primary in March the 6th and hasn't reappeared on the scene in public ever since. She stood diametrically opposed to make such a declaration when she was on the campaign trail and even when she dropped out. But why the sudden about face now? On today's cover story, we will look at the recent journey of Nikki Haley and how she finally arrived at endorsing Donald Trump. Well, let's start with her own words. Quote, I put my priorities on a president who's going to have the backs of our allies and hold our enemies to account, with secure border. Trump has not been perfect on these policies. I've made that clear many, many times. But Biden has been a catastrophe. So I will be voting for Trump. Close quote. Now, the former UN ambassador and the former governor of South Carolina, I think two-term governor of South Carolina, and oh yes, and she served as UN ambassador in the Trump administration. She urged for her opponent, former opponent, and now person that she's going to endorse, to do a better job of courting her supporters, as it has been known that her name is still garnering many percentage of votes in the different primaries that are still in caucuses that are still going on, even as we speak, as it will round third and going home in June. Now, no. I'll pause. I'll pause and say what I think about that later. But she went on to actually say about the courting her constituents, quote, Trump would be smart to reach out to the millions of people who voted for me and continue to support me and not assume that they're just going to be with him. And I genuinely hope he does. Close quote. Now, at primaries leading up to Super Tuesday, Donald Trump was actually saying that he felt as though that he was being a unifying force with the Republican Party. And of course, Nikki Haley was saying, no, that's not true. Look at my poll numbers. Well, although she dropped out of the race in March, Haley just continues to rack up notable share votes against Trump in states across the country. last week. The former ambassador to the UN, or United Nations, as what UN stands for, received 20% of the vote in Maryland, almost 18% of the vote in Nebraska, and just over 9% of the vote in West Virginia. And Haley was the last candidate standing against Trump in the GOP race, which many of them, besides Haley, dropped out right about the Iowa caucus time, which that was about mid-January. In the 3 week leading up to the race and her exit from it, Haley ramped up attacks against Trump, at one point describing him as a disaster for the Republican Party. Now, the Trump campaign and Trump himself even he did not immediately respond for requests for comment. And here's where I will say what I was going to say earlier. This woman was saying that this guy was a disaster. This woman was saying that if people were to vote for him, it would set the Republican Party back. And I'm hearing my partner and my brother, why is that have mentality, in my head saying to me the same thing that I have heard Haley say, which is both Trump and Biden are too old. Now, you're probably saying, well, wait a minute. Now, Haley doesn't look like she's young. Well, in political parlance, she pretty much is. She's 52. But compared to Trump, who will be 78 next month, and Biden, who will be 82 2 weeks from Election Day, which is November 5th. His birthday is November 20th. She would be much, much, much younger. To the point where actually Haley's actually suggested, this is actually a suggestion she has said on the campaign trail, that there should be a cognitive test to see if you're capable of actually running for office after the age of, I think she said 65. So this was something that she put forth early in the campaign trail. This was about maybe 2023. And then she got hush about that after that. Now, I would say a girl, and it's a great job. In fact, that now you have a course to chart Nimrata. That is her real name, Nimrata. That's not poking fun at her. However, I think what Nimrata has not understood is that she has a history of saying one thing and doing another. Saying that she wouldn't even think about voting for Trump nor Biden in January is one of them. And 4 months later, she now has made a choice and is going to vote for Trump. You see how that doesn't give any of you or me the comfortability of people who are running for office, and you solidify with them saying, okay, they say this, they're going to walk this out. That's not her. Now, of course, one of her strong suits, it was ambassador to the United Nations, foreign policy, excuse me. Now, her comments on the election that's going to come up later came after a 30-minute foreign policy speech where she drew sharp comparisons between today and the dawn of World War II, when we're talking like 1940, 1941, before the U.S. And for world history buffs, 1937, 1938, because Germany invaded Poland in 1939, and that was the official beginning of World War II around the world. She went on to say about this in her speech, quote, "Such a crisis is closer than we think. Joe Biden is rushing toward it, and some Republicans would move us toward war as well." Close quote. Now, her sharpest condemnations in the address were targeted, of course, toward Biden and their administration handling of the Israel-Hamas war, which that started October 7th and has been raging ever since in the now almost 8 months of the conflict. Haley admonished the Democratic president for threatening to withhold weapons from Israel, arguing that such an action thrusts the U.S. closer to direct conflict, understanding that a political platform with the GOP is sort of in alignment with the Bible, saying that you have to be an ally with Israel no matter what. To make that more crystal clear. She went on to actually describe that and explain it further. Quote, Israel is fighting America's enemies, not just Hamas, but also Hezbollah, and most of all, Iran. Biden gave our enemies a green light for more bloodshed. Close quote. Well, and that goes along with what Biden said earlier this month in stating that he would halt the shipment of weapons to Israel after acknowledging that some had been used to kill civilians in Gaza. Now, Biden's administration clarified that it was only withholding weapons, one type of weapon system, over concerns about a major ground operation in Rafah, where more than 1 million Palestinians have been sheltering. Haley's speech also addressed the Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi's death, which took place in a helicopter crash this past Sunday. A former diplomat said that the crash really couldn't have happened to a worse person, basically saying that the people of Iran would be better off without him. And Haley directed some of that shrapnel also toward Republicans in Congress, who for months opposed such a funding package that would have boosted Ukraine's ability to fight. Now, while Haley said that she would support the GOP lawmaker goal of decreasing U.S. foreign aid, she argued that funding for countries like Israel and Ukraine, that just isn't the same, going so far as to say, quote, it's an investment in a world which authoritarian dictators cannot run roughshod over free countries. We can turn inward, but the outside world won't leave us alone. Failing to act is the worst action of all, and delaying only will lead to more difficult decisions and a greater chance of catastrophe. Close quote. Now, if I were to bottom line this, I'm glad Haley actually decided to make a decision. I don't really care who she decides, who she's going to vote for. That's a personal decision. Whoever you go to vote for, that is what you decide. I have no horse in the race. What I do have a horse in, though, is the fact that we considered probably for a future presidential run, and your record as South Carolina governor and you an ambassador and GOP candidate for president basically reads like a board that you see when you play checkers or chess. It's checkered. So in the intervening 4 years, Nimrata, I hope you clean up the checkered part and it's one color or another. Oh, that's right. I forgot. You have a problem understanding why a civil war happened and it began in the state that you governed over. My bad. We pretty much know that you are clueless in a lot of things. Smart, but clueless. Facts are the facts. And that is today's cover story. Man. I really do hope that Nimrata gets an understanding of what it means to be a head of state and actually have a word have action and have a word mean something. But I know two people whose words do mean something, and I actually just put forth a perspective take. Why don't you join these two wonderful people, the doc, or Latoya the therapist, and Eric Butler Sr., aka let me see, the intellect, Cullinan, because he's the largest found on land, or the Atlantic, because he's cold, deep, and choppy. Join those two in perspective, and they'll talk about. I think they're going to talk about trauma tonight. Live, catch them tonight and every Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central, on Roku TV and the BS3 Network via Roku TV. And you can catch them on the BS3 Network on the YouTube channel and the BS3 Network Facebook page. That is Perspective with Latoya, the doc, the licensed therapist, and the I call him the network extraordinaire, networker extraordinaire, Eric Butler Sr., the suave guy who is the intellect. Perspective live tonight and every Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central, on the BS3 Network via Roku TV, the BS3 Network YouTube channel, and the BS3 Network Facebook page. You will be enlightened, and you will learn something getting out of that broadcast as you did when you sauntered into it. And when we come back, I did say patience is a superpower, right? Well, I'll explain why I say that on the other side. You're watching The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the BS3 Network. We'll be right back right after this.
Eric Butler, a.k.a.
The Intellect, a.k.a. Cullinan. I'm the biggest diamond ever found on land, a.k.a. The Atlantic. Cold, deep, and choppy.
Latoya the Therapist, a.k.a.
Them kids' mama, a.k.a. Jeff's wife, a.k.a. Latoya the Therapist. I am a licensed professional counselor.
Beauty and Brains, clinical and principled, insightful and intelligent. BS3 Network proudly presents Perspective live every Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central. Are you looking for something to do on your lunch break? Well, there's a show on the BS3 Network that has only 4 words to say to you.
We ready. We ready. We ready for y'all. We ready. We ready. We ready for y'all.
The Lunch Break, powered by JM&E. Live weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central.
Bruce Bernstein.
NBA people are the best people ever. Everything that I've ever wanted to do was always sort of pointed towards the NBA.
Nikki, yes.
Daniel Jones, I don't listen, I wasn't sold on him in the beginning either.
Ben Sutter.
Dan Quinn. Like, he may not be the greatest head coach, but one thing we do know is that he can coach defenses.
Mirren Fader.
If I did a biography on Hakeem Olajuwon, this is the first true international superstar.
Looking for the up-to-date information in the world of sports? The Real Deal with Courtney Harden. Live every Saturday at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central.
And welcome back to the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson on the BC Network. Well, I am Cole Johnson. And to the shifters we had, and my total football brother, Drew Willingham, he says, yeah, by perspective, that was a very generous pluck length, a double promotion. That is what we do here. You know that. Oh, speaking of that, yes, you can catch Drew and myself every Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, Total Football Talk. If you're a football fanatic, it is on. 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on the Sartoga Media YouTube channel and the Comey Media Incorporated YouTube channel. That is Total Football Talk, or TFT, live every Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. How's that for promotion, sir? That's what we do here. You already know this, man. He also says, oh, yeah, which nursing home is hosting the debate? And, of course, it's been publicized that Biden and Trump are going to be doing debates. One will be next month. The other will be in September. If I'm not mistaken, I think CNN is going to be televising one of them. I think ABC is going to be televising the other. I got to check that. But I don't know where they're going to host it. That hasn't been released yet. But I think I have a really good place where both of them could be hosted. And this comes from the No Credentials Required Zone, Ryan McCarthy, who says, yeah, Shady Acres Nursing Home, of course. And yes, and my brother, the NRL Sports Debate guy, you can catch that at 9:05 Eastern, 8:05 Central every Monday on the Superpower Media YouTube channel. He says, Nimrata. Emphasis on the word Nimrod. Goodness gracious. And he says, look, don't get me started on the Civil War. I mean, this is what it was. And to the ultimate, one of the ultimate, I should say, shifters, the owner, the manipulator, the operator of the BS3 network, that is Benjamin Sutter. You catch him every Monday evening, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central. The Forecast. He joins a cast of 4 with himself, Mayhem, or David Wilkes, H-Rap B, and King Doc. And right now they're in the middle of breaking down OJ Made in America. That is Monday, the Forecast, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central. You catch that on the BS3 Network, Roku TV, the BS3 Network YouTube channel, and the _ Forecast YouTube channel as well. Cool actually says as well, I have not began to process TNT losing basketball. I really haven't either, but I've just had to warm myself up and prepare myself for the next 12 months because it sucks thinking about it, because they've been such a great partner of and forget inside NBA, just the covers themselves. It's been a great partnership for 40 years. I just it's hard for me to see the NBA sans TNT. Drew says, have a Tony reality stat. Oh, you do? Okay. Elvis's grandson shot himself in 2020. Yes, he committed suicide. 2016. Thank you. I appreciate that. Stat guy. If you didn't work a third shift, I probably would ask you to do that. But I digress. You probably saw right then and there, I displayed something that is called patience. Now, criticism can actually force somebody to not be so patient, right? But patience is a virtue, and I know you've heard that before, but it is true. Why is it true? Well, it's time that I enter with you, lighting the way. Now, earlier we touched on Inside the NBA possibly going away after next year because, well, the National Basketball Association is getting a new deal. Possibly. It hasn't been finalized and official yet. But seeing something that you're accustomed to forces change, and change forces people out of comfort zones, and being forced out of comfort zones, it heightens things more. And normally patience leaps out the door because we get impatient. We want something. We want to be in the comfortable element of life. We want to know when the next meal is coming. We want to know when the next check is coming. We want to have that satisfaction of understanding that life is taken care of. But sometimes life isn't that way. And why? Well, that's just life. And when that is the case, you got to be patient. And I know that's a hard thing. Just like we actually have to hold patience with our politicians, as I talked about with Nikki Haley or Nimrata. Sometimes you have to deal with them deciding things that's against what you believe or your core beliefs are. And sometimes you have to deal with the fact that they can say one thing and do another, or they can say one thing and then say another. It takes patience to actually follow them and support them, right? But again, patience is a superpower. And this was the message that Paul was trying to get through to the Romans. He was like, wait. I know that you are power hungry. I know that you want to conquer all these lands that's around you, but hold on now. This isn't delayed gratification. The fact that you don't have what you believe you should have isn't a bad thing. In fact, it might be a better thing for you that you don't have this now, so you can learn the lesson that you need in order to acquire what you feel as though you should. And so he went on to teach the Romans about a little thing about patience and what it can produce if they practice it. Quote, we also have joy with our troubles because we know that these troubles produce patience. Patience produces character, and character produces hope. And this hope will never disappoint us because God has poured out his love to fill all our hearts. Close quote. Now, why should we be patient? That's a simple answer. Because life is not going to always go our way. If for no other reason, this might sound morbid, but still, it is a fact of life. I can think of two scenarios even in my own life. Think about those who pass away that you just don't expect to die, but they die. And for me, it's a friend of mine that he was the picture of perfect health, but this is about 8 years ago. Picture of perfect health one day, and then the next day he slipped into a coma. And 2 days after that, he died. And he was the same age as me. A sudden jolt like that. And you have these questions to God. Why? Why him? Why that? He didn't deserve it. And he sold out his life for you. Why did you take it away? All these questions will rush in your brain. But we have to have patience because we don't understand all of what the world has to offer. And we most certainly don't understand what God has to offer. I mean, he knows our end from the beginning, and he knows how this world operates better than we do. And we have to trust that. Another for me would be what happened earlier this year. And I talked about this, I think, in other programs. About 30 miles southwest of Atlanta, my wife and I were in a one-car spin out in the left side lane on I-85, and we both at that same time were thinking similar things. We were thinking, okay, well, we might die, we might be injured, we probably will be hurt, we're probably going to collide with something, either a car or an embankment or a divider, and we didn't collide with anything. And why was that? The Lord, for some reason, stilled me in that moment, and I was patient. And I didn't do anything extra to have us flip over and overturn, have us collide with something. I just went with the flow. And then when I was able to regain control of the car, steered it away and out of harm's way. Patience. It is a life-affirming and life-saving tool to have. So how does patience produce strong character? There's a simple answer here too. When you don't get something you think you want, you tend to, if you aren't the type that just quits and just says, all right, fine, forget it, and just walk on, you want to prove that you're able to earn it, that you're worth it, that you'll do whatever it takes and you'll do whatever is necessary to get that desired thing. That's why patience produces strong character, because it makes you want something more. And normally, when somebody, even, and you can take God out of this realm, when anybody sees that you want something bad enough, you will see somebody actually say, okay, they want this. Okay, they really want it bad enough. Let me help this person get it. We somewhat see it sometimes in the form of birthday and Christmas presents. Sometimes we see it in the form of words that are encouraging. Sometimes we see it in action. But when people see that you want something bad enough and you are willing to go that extra mile to get it, chances are you will get it, or you'll get close to it. And then you'll probably get something else that you didn't see on the horizon that probably will be more than likely better than what you actually were going after. For a quick example, so I was going for a position of manager about 10 years ago. And no, I'm sorry. 15 years ago. And I was heartbroken. I mean, just was heartbroken because I didn't understand why I didn't get it. But now I do, considering that now I have been a manager for last year. I got it now. I didn't think of others. I only thought of myself. I only thought about the title. I didn't think about the responsibility the title held. So sometimes with certain things, it takes a certain level of maturity to grasp why you didn't have it. So when that time comes around again, you will get it. And that's what happened with me. All right, so Cole, what does hope do for someone with patience and character? Well, what it does is that is the glue that ties you to the hard work that you're putting forth, the smart work that you're providing, and the research that you're gathering with the end result. That light at the end of the tunnel, that finish line that you're seeing. Think of it like a marathon runner. You know, they have hope that they're going to finish the race. And if they're well enough and they're strong enough, they hope they finish the race first. They have the hope to do it because they trained for it. And the training built the character in them to say, I got this. And when times get tough, when the lungs get iron, and when the breath gets thin, I push forward because I know that's a lie in my brain that's telling me I should quit, I should stop, I should keep going. And if I keep going, I'm going to get to that finish line, and I'm actually going to prove to myself I could do something that at one time I didn't think I could do. That's hope speaking in that moment. And let hope speak for you in that moment, because it will power you. It will give you the purpose to gather the character, to tap into the patience and saying, I'm going to get this. I know I'm going to get this. And when I do, man, I'm going to rejoice. But I'm going to rejoice now because I know this. I know this is mine, or I know something, a facsimile thereof of it is mine. And I'm going to go for it. I'm going to strike and I'm going to get. I'm going to strike. I'm going to get it. I got the patience. I got the character, and I'm hoping for this end because I'm training for this end right now. I'm going through all the obstacles. I'm leaping through all the hurdles and over all the hurdles. I'm going to get there. So why will this type of hope never disappoint us? It will never disappoint you, because with that hope, with the character, and with the patience, you always learn something, and not just one thing. You always learn many different things along the journey. And so that when you get to that end, whether you cross that finish line or not, you will cross a finish line. So you got to understand that. You will cross a finish line. You will finish something. That journey is not for naught. You will finish something. You might be pulled into another destination and another finish line, because that's what God did for you. But understand that the hope will never disappoint you, because you built up the character in the training. You gathered the patience, and you hoped for a better outcome all the while long. You pushed for a better outcome. You strove or you strived for a better outcome. You want something different. And that's why you have joy with troubles. That's why the troubles produce patience. That's why the patience produces character. That's why the character produces hope. And that's why it never disappoints you, because you're shredding off the disappointment of trouble. And you're putting on the cloak of hope, because you're doing this hoping for a better end. You're doing this hoping for a better day. You're doing this hoping for a brighter day. And you keep going, you will get the better day. That's the best thing about this. You go on that journey, you don't quit. You get the better day that you seek. Now, it may not look the way you think, and it might look the way you think, but you will get more than what you bargained for when you apply the patience, the character, and the hope in the midst of trouble to get to the better end. Understand something. We're in three modes in life, all of us. Either we are in trouble, we're out of trouble, or we are pulling in the season of getting from trouble out of it. So we are in a constant stage of struggle. But the struggle doesn't have to look bad. It just has to look hopeful. And isn't that a great thing? I think it is. So don't quit. Strive for better, because you will always get better. That's what God says. That's what I say. That's what you should live. The shifters one last time. Cool says, look, digressing is a quality we all share. Yes, I think we do all share that. Oh, man. It's a pleasure to do this with you. I got to thank you guys for being such a patient shift group. I love you all. And this is all the time I have. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. Oh, yes, and thank you for commenting, all of you, all the shifters that came on the live broadcast and the shifters that will come in the future broadcast when it replays for you. And thank you for hitting that notification bell so you can get every broadcast that comes from the morning shift. If you have any suggestion as to what you want to cover, because I'm going to actually do this tomorrow, because I had a suggestion that came to my desk that I will cover the story of tomorrow. You can write the comments in this in this video in the comment section. Please let me know. And you can also email me or email the show at bs3morningshift@gmail.com. That's bs3morningshift@gmail.com. If you have any suggestions of any stories you'd like for me to cover, please let me know. For all of us here at the Morning Shift with Cole Johnson and the BS3 Network, I am Cole Johnson, here to say, imparting as I always do. If you lack commitment, you will never start. If you lack consistency, you will never finish. And if you lack love, you most certainly will never conquer. Until we meet again in 23 hours, have a blessed day, everyone. So long, Shifter.